Yeah.
You watched last night and finally know you're playing on Sunday. What's the biggest challenge against
Um,
Miami?
they're a fantastic organization. They've obviously won championships. They're known for their culture. Um, just because they were a 10 seed doesn't mean anything with them. You saw it in their two games. So for us, we got to just do what we do. Understand it's going to be a physical series. They got great guys. They got great coach. So, it's on us to continue to do what we do. We use this week of rest and come out there be ready for game one.
You've played in a lot of game ones now.
Yeah.
So what type of tone do you try to set in game one?
Just protect home court, honestly, is the biggest thing. Come out there, like I said, understanding your opponent, understanding what type of series it's going to be, and then also get to play in front of the best fans in the league. You know what I mean? Use that to our advantage. You know what I mean? I know it's going to be a whiteout. I know it's going to be exciting. I've seen it twice. I'm looking forward to it for a third time, and, something that's going to be truly special. And game ones, man, especially here, like game ones are just different. So I'm excited.
How's your ankle?
Great.
When when did it become great? You were
It
banged
was
up.
always great.
No,
It was always great. No, I mean, it was always great.
yeah?
Yeah.
Because it touched the floor when you turned.
Yeah, but I'm Spider-Man. You got the powers and stuff, so it doesn't really affect you the same.
Obviously playoffs are way different, but you went from going winless in a meaningless preseason to winning 15 in a row.
Yeah.
Does that give you a level of confidence that this team can flip a switch or whatever you want to say, like come out playing the right way?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't use that as the example. I think, to be fair, and I've said this, to go from 0-4 to 15-0, I'm a little surprised. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say I didn't think we're going to go 15-0, but we've shown over the course of the year who we can consistently be, and I'm definitely grateful for the hardships, the things we've went through as a group, because that'll definitely help. But we've also shown that we can be a really high-octane basketball team on offense and a really lockdown team on defense, and that's what I expect, from here on out.
A lot of the guys have talked about having a chip on their shoulder coming into the playoffs. Tristan was on the radio saying it was disrespectful that you guys are on NBA TV for the second game. Where does that chip come from?
Shout out to NBA TV, man. They're like, oh, man, shoot. D. Scott and all those guys. But no, I think it's honestly, and I've always said this, we don't get the respect we deserve. We haven't done anything. You know what I mean? So this is the time. Until we take care of business, I don't expect anything different. Do I feel like we're deserving of it? For sure. I think we definitely have shown that. But ultimately, it's 2 months of work, and you got to go out there and do what you got to do and take care of business. And then, in Tristan's words, I guess we won't be in NBA TV.
So if you haven't done anything in your own words,
Yeah.
why do you deserve more respect?
Because I feel like we've shown it, But at the end of the day, like I said, it comes down to right now. We got to go out and show it right now. I feel like we've shown it throughout the course of the season. You've seen a development from everybody in this group. But like I said, it don't really matter to people. At the end of the day, we get our respect, by taking care of business and on Sunday.
You guys have talked about that all year, the things that you guys have been able to show, Evan's development, the chemistry, and the additions of kind of free agency. Well, for you, what are you looking forward to showing up the most in the playoffs from the things you've changed from last year?
Our depth. You look at, we always say, it can be anybody, any night, offensively, defensively, or, whether we're up at the point on the screen, we're in drop, we're switching 1 through 5. Our versatility, there's so much that we can do. You can put Dean at the 5, we can put Isaac at the 5, even Hunt at the 5. So definitely our versatility on the defensive end, and then our depth on the offensive end for sure.
You mentioned the other day that Darius is only 25. He wants to play like he's 28 in these playoffs.
Yeah.
How do you interpret that message?
Well, you look at it as, we are, I don't want to say on a clock, I don't want to give us a time frame, but like you're in a situation where, these don't always happen for guys at DG's age in the league. Like, we're in a situation where there's an expectation, that typically comes from guys who are older. You know what I mean? Like, it's just natural. Same thing with Evan. Same thing with Isaac. You know what I mean? Like, so, he's shown all year his development, his growth, on and off the floor with his habits, his routine, his maturity, as far as the approach to the game. And I think what he means by that is like, hey, it's going to take another level. No one in here was the same person at 28 as they are at 25. You know what I'm saying? And I think what he means by that is what you see on the court. We need more, and you're going to need more from me, You need more from Evan, you need more from Jay, you need more from everybody. So that's pretty much what that is. Just because, hey, we're in a position where guys are 28, 29, 30, and our expectations are a little different. So that's pretty much what that is, and I know he's ready for sure.
What experience can you use as the top seed in team line in 2020 and impress on the rest of the team and everything going on?
Take care of home court, taking care of home court and really just keeping it here throughout the entire playoffs. You win 2 games in a row doesn't mean anything. You win 1 game. You win by 40 doesn't mean nothing. You lose by 40 doesn't mean anything. Understanding that we got a long 90 days, whatever it is. Like we want to continue to be the same group throughout, win or loss in each game, and understand that it's a 7-game series for a reason. So that's pretty much been my message is like, hey, the physicality is going to be different, but also understand that just be even keeled throughout the entire series.
What do you think maturity looks like for a lead guard?
I think what you have seen, in my opinion, what you've seen, just even more so. I think for him, clutch moments. Are we getting good shots? Is he getting guys open? We've seen it. He should be the clutch player of the year. All-star level. Can we get him to another level? Like there's always going to be more that you can definitely push him, and I think you've seen it on a consistent basis this year, and now we need it every night. And not to say he hasn't, not to say he won't, but the same thing could be said for me. You know what I'm saying? So that's our message, and we talk about that amongst each other. Like we've talked this week about, hey, what can we do to help lead this group on the offensive end, on defensive end, in the locker room. And the fact that, he's initiated some of those conversations, it's like, that's the 28 that we're speaking on. It's like, hey, all right, cool, I want to go here, so then we can do this, and then Evan can go here. Like, like being able to have that on your mental, that's the 28 that we're speaking of.
Donovan, with you guys the last few years in the postseason, it seems like there's been this outside narrative about your physicality and other teams quote unquote beating up on you. Has that bothered you guys over the last couple of years here when people say things like that? And do you think you have a chance to change the narrative with that this postseason?
I just think that was just the New York series, to be honest. I don't really feel like that was last year. I think for us, we've done such a good job to this point, on many different fronts, especially in the physicality area. Obviously, the playoffs in general are going to be physical. You know what I mean? So, you lose a series, is it because we're too physical, or did you, I think it was that New York series. I think it woke us up. And for some of us at that time, it was their first playoff series. Understanding that there's another level to that. So, I don't think there's a mindset to go prove. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're a physical group. Like, we know who we are. We know who we can be, and we have to go out there and show it come Sunday.
Do you take anything away from the regular season matchups against Miami, or do those not?
It's so different, man. And they've shown historically. I have a lot of respect for that organization. They've shown they could be a 10 seed, 9 seed, 8 seed, don't matter. Also, the Jimmy stuff was going on. You know what I mean? It's there's so much. And then Wiggs, I don't think we played against Wiggs at all. So there's so much. But I also think there's some things you can take away because at the end of the day, at their core, they are who they are. And at our core, we are who we are. You know what I mean? So you could take away some certain things like that. But it's a whole different ballgame come Sunday. So it doesn't really, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but it's not, doesn't necessarily always correlate.
People have been bringing up the fact that Kenny only has a handful of games as a coach in the playoffs. I'm sure that doesn't matter necessarily to you guys.
I didn't even know that.
What is the advantage that he provides to you guys as a coach versus what you guys went into the postseason?
I think for him, it's the level of empowerment that he's, given each individual on this team. We've talked about it for so long, and you've seen it in the play. You've seen it in guys, you've seen it in the camaraderie, the chemistry, and you do all that, for these moments. Whether it's managing our minutes, where most of us playing career lows, you do all that so we're healthy, knock on wood or whatever, but come now. So I think he's done a phenomenal job. It's not easy, being able to, this isn't college, this isn't high school. I think it's something that, he's managed very well, being a coach versus being able to be relatable, being able to have a conversation with, be able to talk basketball, talk life. He's done a great job at that, and, I think it'll definitely help going forward.
What are the challenges in Miami's zone, and the fact that you guys have played a decent amount of it this year?
Yeah, I think, they're definitely, really, really talented in that really good in that regard as far as the zone and being able to, mix it up defensively with their schemes. They're in the gaps, they're always going to play hard. They're always going to be where they need to be, kind of helping each other. So for us, it's just, continue to find our ways that we beat it and then continue to, keep making the simple plays over and over again.
We've talked this year about how your roles kind of change, taking less minutes and powering others. How do you anticipate that transferring into the playoffs?
Just keep doing what I've been doing, man. I just understand, like I said, we know who we are. We know when it comes time to do what we do, and that's it.
You've been really vocal about building habits all season long, before the year and during, obviously, when we were talking during the season. Do you think that you guys built those habits during the 82 games that you played, and what can you guys lean back on if you did?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously helps being the 1 seed, and a record reflects that, but I think also even if our record didn't reflect being a 1 seed or whatever, I think we've shown ourselves individually like the steps that we need to take. We've had games where we've done it, we had stretches where we've done it at a high level. We have stretches where, we've kind of gone downward. How do we respond from those stretches? We ended the season, the game against the Knicks. That was a big, just come back from 26, just the way we did it. Wins and losses or whatever, but it's just the way you go about it. Chicago, understanding those different things. Losing 3 in a row, Houston, Philly, and then coming back and winning 8 in a row, whatever it is. So I think we've built those habits. I think we've shown who we are, and now on Sunday it's just up to us to go out there and do it.
You guys,
When you getting Coach of the Year, did you guys get a moment to kind of celebrate?
I didn't find that out till I just walked over here. So I think tomorrow morning we'll definitely see him.
How much credit can you give him just for all that you've done this season?
A lot. I think he's like I said, he's done a great job of balancing, whether it's, being Coach Kenny or just being Kenny, and just kind of understanding that he's just, like I said, the empowerment, being relatable, being able to have those conversations, having fun throughout this, also having the seriousness to him. It's not easy, especially at this level. So I give him a lot of credit for how he's managed different personalities, different relationships in this group, and it's helped us get to where we are.
you guys won 64 games. You're the number 1 seed in the East. You're considered one of the title favorites. It's a different situation than what you've been in the past. What level of pressure is there that comes with that, if at all?
It's not fun, isn't it? Isn't that what's fun? You know what I'm saying? I think, hell yeah. I really don't, I don't know. Yeah, there's pressure. Yeah, there's, but who wouldn't? You wouldn't want this. You know what I'm saying? So this is what makes, what we do fun. Obviously, we get to put a banner up on this wall. You know what I mean? Now we could try to put one up on this wall. This is what we do. This is why we show up to work. This is why we, spend all those times. That's why you get pushed around. You doing these extra sprints, doing all these different things, man. This is what you do it for. So, yeah, there's pressure, but it's fucking fun. I have no else to say. This is, I'm excited. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
You mentioned how much you like the whiteout and the
Yeah,
energy that
yeah.
Rocket Arena has. You get the white T-shirts from the fans.
Yeah.
How much are you really looking forward to that game?
Man, I can't wait for that. Something about a whiteout, even in high school, you get the homecoming games and all that, something about a whiteout when fans are going crazy. It's just, you just know it's a different energy. Even tomorrow when I get to the arena, I'll probably walk in and just look around just to see it, just because you just feel it's different. You feel it when you're driving into the arena. I feel it in my neighborhood when I'm driving by, people it's just a different feeling, and that the playoffs are here. So I'm excited. I'm excited to play in front of the best fans in the league and take care of business.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.